This story begins with a simple favor that I was going to do for my cousin whose husband is currently building a house. They wanted to list the house, and as you guys may or may not know, my wife Janessa is a real estate agent. So I figured, well, I can go out there and take some real estate photos for you guys. That's not a problem, easy. Definitely in my wheelhouse, but boy was I wrong. Now, I started this whole journey by really going online and trying to figure out the best way to do real estate photography. And there's a lot to consider. And by the end of this, I'm sitting here Sunday afternoon. The one conclusion that I can give you guys is that real estate photography is a lot more complicated than I anticipated, and it's a lot more difficult when things don't go your way. So a lot of this is my fault because I should not have sold my Laowa 9mm, because if I hadn't sold that lens, that I can go out and shoot with my A6100. And while I have the 11mm, it's simply not wide enough. It's wide, it's very, very wide, but it's not really wide enough for those small bathrooms and for the smaller rooms to make them look bigger. And when you're shooting real estate, you want everything to look huge, and so you want the widest lens possible. So I decided, well, I'm gonna shoot with my full frame camera, my A7C, which is back there. And the lens that I have that's the widest full frame lens for my A7C is this Rokinon 14mm f2.8. Now, this is a good lens. I don't know that I've reviewed it on this channel. It's a decent lens, and I'm not going to blame Rokinon for this. I'm going to blame the fact that I have two small kids around. Maybe they did something. Maybe I did something. I have no idea. Anyway, this lens, for whatever reason, is broken, and it really broke on the shoot, on the day of the shoot. I had no idea before going to the house, and this was an hour away. The unfortunate part is I took all of the real estate photos that I needed that first day. That was Thursday. I came home and started to edit them, and I noticed immediately that there were some very big issues with this lens. So if you guys are interested in picking up a damaged but maybe fixable, I have no idea, lens, let me know. I'll sell this thing for like $100. But I think the rearmost element here, not only does it look like it has some grime or fogginess, I think it's loose. It shouldn't be wobbling around like that. There's something up with the plastic in here too. It just looks like, I don't know, it looks like maybe it was super glued at one time. There's some residue there. And then optically, there's some issue with light flares. There's just a couple of things that are annoying and unfortunately not something that you could remove with normal editing in Lightroom. So the whole thing was a bust. Now, it was a bust. Day one was a bust for two reasons. Number one, this lens was broken, which again, I'm gonna get rid of. Number two is I brought my drone, which is the Mavic Mini 2. It's not the newest drone out there, but it's pretty good little drone. I picked this thing up for dirt cheap from a friend of mine, and it's been an awesome thing, very easy to fly. So I brought this with me, and so after I got done shooting all the interior and the exterior photos, I waited for sunset, and then I was gonna fly this and get some aerial shots of the house and where it is relative to the lake, because it's close to the lake. And that did not go well either, because apparently two of the blades on this drone were broken. And did I realize that before bringing it up there? No. And I thought at that point in time that I didn't have any spare blades with me. So I went home and did not shoot any drone photos that day, thinking I would come back another day and do them. And then I come home, and after searching my house extensively, found out that all of my spare parts were in this little bag with me, including the tools to swap out everything. So long story short, day one, it was a fail. I thought I did something good and was helping out my cousin, but ended up being a catastrophe. And I said, hey, I'm gonna come back on Saturday and reshoot everything. So what I did is I went out and I rented a lens. Now I called, fortunately we live close to Precision Camera here in the Austin area. So if you guys don't know, they're a camera shop. They sell new and used stuff. They also offer rentals. And so what I did was I called and I said, hey, do you guys have your Sony 12 to 24 f4, which is the widest full frame lens that you can get. available for rent. And they said, no, unfortunately that one's out, but they hooked me up with something even better. And that is this 12 to 24 millimeter f2.8 G Master. And this is probably the most expensive lens I've ever tested and reviewed. I did a video about this lens when it came out about 2 years ago. It's a beast. It's like $3,000, and somehow they rent these things out for the weekend for 45 bucks, which is a bargain if I do say so myself. So I got the lens, I have my camera body, went out again on Saturday and I reshot the whole house. And in between Thursday and Saturday, I spent a good amount of time, a couple hours, just going online and trying to figure out what the best approach is as far as shooting interiors for real estate. Because for me, you need vertical lines to be straight, which is a challenge. So I learned a lot from a video that I'll link down below, which is kind of an extensive, like hour-long video from a YouTuber, which was awesome. But talking about using a tripod, shooting HDR, so bracketing and shooting 5 images, putting them together as an HDR, and all of that fun stuff. Now, the shoot on Saturday went okay. That was yesterday. I got everything that I needed, had the drone, flew it up, took a couple of shots with the drone, everything looked great, brought it all home and started editing this afternoon, and again, catastrophe. I usually check this, I really do, and a lot of you yell at me in the comments section for having exposed sensors. If you guys haven't seen the video that I made about how strong Sony sensors are, not strong, but how scratch resistant Sony sensors are, watch that video, because I don't care that this is exposed. I know a lot of you guys are freaking out right now, but I don't care that this is exposed because I know that I could take one of these little cleaning Q-tips wherever they are. Yeah, get yourself a ton of these things and it'll make your life much easier. You can use air, but these are better, so I just go through and I'll clean a sensor. And then also check the back of the lens, which I normally do again, but this time I didn't. So what happened is all of my shots again had a little bit of squiggly line dust in it. So every single shot I had to go in with the little blemish tool and remove, which was a pain. And then the HDR aspect of everything just didn't work. Now, I shot with JPEGs because I don't want massive file sizes. I know that most people will shoot RAW and then put them all together, but it's already enough resolution. This sensor is detailed enough. I don't really care about the extra little bit of color. And so I figured, okay, I'm just gonna put together JPEGs. It's gonna make my life easier and make the whole process faster. But the HDRs just didn't turn out the way that I expected them to. And this is probably because this is my first time trying to mess with HDR. I've done it in a camera body before, but not using a program such as Lightroom. And even though I did whatever it was, 5 different bracketed shots, it looks a little overly done. It looks like it was shot on an iPhone 14 Pro or something crazy. Not the best look. And so after editing about 70% of all the HDR photos, I then decided, no, I'm just gonna go back and edit the regular photos, non-HDR, and that was a repetition of all of the other previous edits. Anyway, long story short, here I am, Sunday afternoon, it is almost 5 o'clock, and this little project, I'm gonna help you shoot your real estate photos for this house that we're listing for you, ended up several hours. I'm probably 10 hours into this project now. It might even be more with driving time because it's an hour there, an hour back, so take 2 trips up there, plus the trip out to the rental place, plus I have to return this lens tomorrow. So I could honestly, if I wanted to, go back and edit those photos for another 3 hours and fine-tune things and remove little things and be very, very nitpicky and still think that, oh, it could be better. So anyway, I don't know what the moral of this story is or was, but I would encourage you guys to try things. And I think that's maybe one key takeaway, that if you gain nothing from this video but this, it's try things. Because nothing teaches you quite as quickly as trying and failing and then figuring it out along the way. So this was definitely a great learning experience for me. And yeah, I've learned a lot, and I hope that next time one of these opportunities to help pop up, I'm much more better prepared. That did get me thinking though, we do need an auto-focusing ultra-wide angle 8 or 9mm for APS-C. That would be nice. And also really for full frame, we need something that's more budget friendly. Even if someone came out with like a 12mm, 13mm prime that had autofocus, something like the Rokinon 14mm, but maybe a little bit wider than this would be awesome, because both options that are currently available from Sony are expensive. It's like $3,000 or $2,000 for the f4 version. Sigma has a 14 to 24mm art lens, which is great. I've heard amazing things about it, but it's 14mm, which in tight situations may not be quite wide enough for what you're looking for. But let me know what you guys think from my shots, because I know a lot of you guys watching are probably a lot more seasoned and more professional than I am when it comes to real estate photography. So you might be cringing at the sight of these things that I'm showing you right now. So let me know how I did for a first time. And if you guys have any tips or tricks, leave those down below. That is going to be it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and maybe or maybe not you learned something from it. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for watching. All of your likes, all of your comments, and your support truly means so much. I hit over 200K subscribers, which is an amazing milestone as well. Yeah, excited to see where things are going. Stay tuned. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.